KP's Kingdom, cooking with KP, and today I'm going to show you how to make these amazing Chinese barbecue pork buns in a real nice budget and easy way. Alright, first thing I've got is my little baby wok. I'm just going to put a little bit of peanut oil straight in the bottom of that. Now, we're going to make this a little bit different. I'm going to use 300 grams of ground pork or pork mince that I've just bought from my supermarket. Now, if you're going to buy char siu pork from your local provider, you're going to be paying anywhere from $25 up per kilo. This pork mince is only around about $12 per kilo, and if you buy it in bulk, it'll be even less than that. So we're just going to put that straight in and start cooking that off. I'm going to add in around about the equivalent of 1 clove of garlic straight into that. I'm using my garlic paste, and I'm also going to add in a tiny bit of ginger paste as well. I'm in about equal quantities of both. Just keep stir frying that around like I'm doing right there. Now, I'm actually cooking this off the night before. I started doing this recipe the night before, and unfortunately my MS fatigue really kicked in and I had to just leave it in the refrigerator overnight. Now here I've got a jar of char siu sauce, or char siu sauce is the right word for it, and I'm just going to start layering the flavour of the char siu straight into the pork mince. Now you can actually make this from scratch. It is a lot more involved. I have done it a few times before and it's not that hard, but it is quite involved. I'm going to add in a little bit more of that char siu, or a little bit more of that sweetness to it, and as you can see, it is quite a thick and glossy type of sauce. It's got a lot of honey and sugar in it. We don't want to overdo it. Now, sometimes you'll add a little bit of soy to that. It doesn't need it when you're using this particular sauce. That is available at all your local supermarkets, or most of them. Just give that a good stir through, a little bit of ground white pepper. Give that another little quick mix through, and as I said, I left this one sit for about 24 hours. Right, now let's start getting our buns ready. I'm going to add in around about a tablespoon's worth of caster sugar, a 7-gram packet of yeast. That can just go straight in. All of these are available at your local supermarket. I'm going to add in a 1/4 cup of room temperature water, maybe just a little bit more temperature depending on the time of year. We don't want it too cold, so if it is in winter, put it in a warm spot and let it come up to a nice warm temperature. Give that a quick mix through. I'm going to cover that, and I'm going to leave that for around about half an hour for it to bloom. So here I've got 3 cups of flour. I'm actually using a self-raising flour here. I'm going to give it a little bit more air time with just a little bit more baking powder, and I've also added in a 1/4 cup of caster sugar. Give that a good mix through, just like that. And now we want to sieve this. So here I've got a little sieve, brand new, first time using it. I got it at around about 75% off, and why not when it looks this cool and it's the right little size. Just stir that through like I'm doing there, and we want to sieve this through, and it's going to break down any lumps. We want a really nice smooth dough for this recipe. So let's give it a little bit of a stir through, get rid of the lumps, and here we've got our little yeast mixture. We can add that straight in on top, just like that. How easy is this so far? And if you haven't had a Chinese steamed barbecue pork bun, you don't know what you're missing. They taste amazing. I'm going to add in 1 cup of just lukewarm water. So I boil the kettle about 2 hours beforehand, and let it come back down to a nice warm temperature. I'm going to put that in my stand mixer, put that on low with a dough hook, and just let everything come together. Just leave it alone, it will do its own thing. If you use all these measurements that I'm giving you correctly, you'll end up with the perfect dough. Alright, now let's get ready for our next step. All I'm simply going to do is put a little bit of flour down on the board. You can use your bench if you want. I'm just going to use a board, it's a little bit easier to clean. Take all of our dough out, just like that. We can remove our little bits and pieces that we've been mixing our dough with, and get them soaking in some water, so it's going to be a little bit easier to clean. We're simply going to knead this for around about 3 to 5 minutes, and as you knead it, you'll notice this dough will sort of come together. It'll become a little bit smoother, but it will just really change its consistency in the way it feels and the way it reacts. So just give those a quick bit of a knead like that. As I said, 3 to 5 minutes, and all we're going to simply do now is get ready to let this thing rest. Right, a little bit of spray oil in a bowl, just like that, and I'm going to put my dough in like that. I'm going to cover that with some cling film once I remove that dough hook, and I'm going to let that sit for around about an hour. Okay, you can leave it a little bit longer if you want. Just let everything relax, let all those glutens relax, and all we have to do now is come back and get on with our next step. And making these is just so satisfying. Just give that a bit of a knockdown, give that a knead for around about 2 to 3 minutes. Right, and as you can see, that dough has changed the way it looks and the way it actually behaves, and it is so satisfying making your own little Chinese steamed barbecue pork buns. Alright, I'm going to roll this out now into an even sized log, just like that. Just keep rolling and spreading it apart, because we're going to need to cut these up into around about 16 pieces. And how do you know how big to make these little bits of dough? Well, I'm going to show you a little quick tip. Now, I am going to use a little dough cutter. I'm going to go halfway through, just like that. Very simple. And all we're going to simply do is just keep cutting all of these in half until we end up with 16 pieces. Not real hard to do. Don't have to use one of these little implements that I've got. You can actually just use a good sharp knife, but we're just simply going to just knock these out just like that. Alright, now all I'm going to do now is roughly roll these. You could use a larger rolling pin, but this little stick that I found in a culinary shop works just as well, and I actually use that as a muddling stick for making cocktails as well. Give that a little bit of a stretch out. As you can see, that dough is quite pliable. I'm going to use a 1/3 measuring cup. Right, just a little tip for you, makes things a little bit easier to make these buns. Just put that dough straight into our cup. Make sure we've got a little bit of a tail over the edge. We're going to add our nice little char siu filling, right, straight in there. Little bit of spring onion or scallion, and all we have to simply do is quickly fold over those edges just like that. How easy is this to do? It's a great little hack that I learnt a little while back. We're going to eventually get this thing tapped out onto the bench. Might take you 1 or 2 goes, but I'm going to pinch the top of all of that together, just like I'm doing there, and we're almost ready to go. All we have to do is do that another 15 more times, and we're going to have our little barbecue steamed pork buns ready to go. Put that on a little bit of oven paper or greaseproof paper, and I've got my steamers already loaded, as you can see right there, and I've got a good pan of boiling water. Right, put the lid on your bamboo steamer, put that straight down on top, and I'm going to steam these for around about 5 minutes or so, and I'm going to give these a quick little flip, right, so we get a little bit more of an even cooking process. As you can see, they're already starting to grow. So after around about 8 minutes or so, our barbecue steamed pork buns are ready to go. You serve that up just like that. And what I'll do, I am going to show you a cross section at how good this looks. Alright, cut this in half, and before you know it, you have got a barbecue steamed pork bun that tastes exactly the same that you would get in any Chinese restaurant at any time, without all the expense of buying char siu pork, and just as easy and more satisfying, believe it or not. This whole thing's going to cost you around about $15 and will serve 8 people quite easily. Serve that up with your favourite dipping sauces, of course, and it's time for you to enjoy. Thank you so much for watching this video. Really do appreciate it. If you like this video, hit that like button. Gives me confidence. Should make you feel warm and fuzzy too. Share this video with all your friends on all platforms and social media. We're trying to get the name of KP's Kingdom out there. Don't forget to hit that notifications bell. You'll be notified every time a new video goes up. Hey, leave a comment. I love reading and I love responding to them. In the meantime, if you want to learn how to make a little Chinese classic like this, well, you need to come and join the family, my family. Hit that subscribe button and you'll never miss another one of my videos. Again, I'm off to eat my steamed barbecue pork buns and I will catch you next time. Bye!